everyone. Welcome to another episode of Japa Diaries, a podcast documenting the experiences of African immigrants in the diaspora. All right, so as per usual, our guests are spicy, but I think this guest is particularly spicy, and I think you guys will be really, really excited. Ladies and gentlemen, uh, can we welcome Miss Sofi, aka the Odditty? Cue applause. Welcome.
Hey, Japa Diaries. Japa.
Hi, Sophie. Welcome to the platform. This is Japa Diaries, where we like to get in depth with the African experience. Abdulsah, what are we talking about today? What are we gonna learn today about the
I think
immigrant experience?
we typically tend to so for background, we typically tend to have the topics kind of be around the guests, like what their expertise is, what they can bring to the table. And from consuming your many joyous content, I'm like, this babe, I already know what I'm going to talk to her about. Okay, we're going to talk about how in the world we become adults, but more importantly, how we become adults when we do not live in the country that we thought we were becoming adults in. Okay, because that's another layer of adulting that the world does not prepare you for, but before we get into all of that, I want to start with one of our very general first questions. Please explain to us your Japa story. How in the world did you end up in the US of A?
Yeah, when did you figure out you were gonna come to the US, or when you were going to leave Nigeria, assuming that you are Nigerian, all that good stuff?
Yeah,
it was crazy. It's like, I've actually never told this story. Wow. Oh, you guys are getting inside scoop. Okay.
Exclusive.
Let's have it.
Let's go.
Per. I mean, my per era, by the way. So if I say per a lot, I apologize. So yeah, hey guys, my name is Sofi, aka the Odditty. I came to America from Nigeria in 2014, and my story is actually it's chaotic a little bit though, because I think I always knew I was gonna come to America, right? Like that was I used to watch Fresh Prince, Hannah Montana, Suit Life on Deck. My goal was to come to high school in America or in a Western country. I don't know what that said about me then, but I think I was like, this high school, I must go to the high school. I must find the high school crush. We must go to prom together. We must do the first kiss. We must
Disney
do
Channel. That's what it is.
Disney Channel and meet chokeholds, okay?
Yeah. It wasn't only you. Trust me, it was all of us.
And then I remember telling my mom about it before I went to high school. I thought that was the plan because my mom, I'm first this last child of 12 kids, but under my mom, I was the last child of 2. So it was just 2 of us, and my brother is 10 years older than me. Okay. So I like to joke with my mom.
Whoa! Just give me a second, bro.
Okay. It's a lot.
So, but you're the last of 12, but then 2 from your mom.
Yeah, and my brother is 10 years
older. 10-year gap.
10
was
year
your brother
gap.
in America?
No, he was Nigeria. He's never actually
So you brought this concept brand new to your mother.
You don't understand.
All right.
So this is the thing. So I remember telling her I thought it was time to go to high school, and my mom forgot because it's been 10 years since she carried the kids to school.
Wait. She forgot.
I remember I woke up one morning and Mom woke up and she was like, why are you here? I said, what do you mean? She said, you're not going to school. I said, Mommy, I graduated. She said, from where? And I said,
you didn't write common entrance?
No, I didn't. What lie? My mom actually was like, what do you mean? I'm like, Mommy, I'm done with school, primary school. There's next secondary. She said, and you didn't tell me. I said, how am I supposed to know?
I'm quite literally a baby girl.
So in my head, I thought when she forgot, that was because she had plans of carrying me to America. I thought that's where we were going, but the woman just forgot that I had to go to school. So I remember I had to go to home science. So I went to home science in secondary school in Songota. And the only way I even got in, I don't know if I should be saying this out loud, but the man just said I should read. I was telling him I was I'm a Muslim and I'm really good and I'll be great for your school, sir. He was I should give him a little speech about why I should get to the school. That's where Connects is great. And then he was like, okay, if you're a good Muslim, like you say you are, read Surah Al-Fatiha. And I said, okay.
That's level 1. That's level 1.
That's basic.
Anybody can do that one.
So it's Fatiha that got you to school.
Wallahi. Well, like was Fatia, and
Wow.
I read it and I was like, Fatia, da, 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 and he went. He said, "Okay, yeah, we are in." Well, like I didn't recommend the chance for any school, so that's why
Okay,
I got
guys,
into high school.
for
There's
context,
nothing
if you're
about
not
not do.
Muslim, no, quite literally, because what the heck? If you're not Muslim, for context, it's like the Lord's Prayer. It's almost like it's the
Yeah, it's like just
basicness of it.
easy.
Yeah.
Basicness
ABC.
of it was, that's why- and it was a Christian. It wasn't even like a Muslim school or anything. That's why I even knew it was like he
Mm-hmm.
just like brought up something to ask me to say, and I said it. And
Mm-hmm.
It's
then
okay. God said
during
you're going to school,
school,
so you went.
God said He had for me. And then during school, I
Yeah.
asked my mom again. I was like, I'm ready. Like, are we not traveling? And she was like, my dad, who I didn't have a relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
he said none of his kids are going to study abroad. So that was why I was like, I was not allowed to go to school to study. And I was like, the man that we don't even know, like, what the heck? Why would you say that kind of law?
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, that's
Yeah.
fine. So after high school, graduated, I wrote WAEC and all that stuff, passed well. And then the plan was for me to still go to America. That was my prayer. I was like, I'm going to hold on to it. And at
Mm-hmm.
my high school, I won an award for like the Banky W, like because he went to my school, like this like scholarship for students and stuff. And it was a substantial amount
That's
of
the
money. My mom
smart.
had kept it with her. I was very hit, my dear. So we did that. And then my mom sent me to Uniloring. So I was in Uniloring for a year. But I left Uniloring, and I've said this a few times here and there, and I'm not gonna like double down on it in this conversation. But I left Uniloring because professor, sex for grades, all that shit went down, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like I had no other choice. So I went back to Lagos, and I told my mom, I said, if I go to Unilag, the way my mouth is blah 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 blah, someone's gonna still ask me for the same thing, and your daughter is not gonna do
Yeah.
that. I'm either gonna go be an advocate and stuff, and you're gonna feel embarrassed by it, annoyed by it, da da da, or let's start working the
Mm.
same. I'm going abroad, and
And
she literally
okay.
was like, she was like, it's not, it's like she couldn't afford it. My family couldn't afford it. It was like if you go there, it's just you have an uncle in the U.S., but like it was like that's all it was going to be. And I was like, we're gonna figure
Mm-hmm.
it out. Took that money that I got from Banky W, applied to SATs and stuff. Like literally, I stole that money from her. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna lie. She didn't know about all that shit. When we remember my brother were doing all that cover. Literally, took that money to go and pay for IELTS, so she wouldn't know. Because just wanted to like surprise
Wow.
her. Like I applied for SAT, we did everything. Like I went through like the school, all that. Got into like a school in West
Mm-hmm.
Virginia. I didn't even care what school at this point. I was just like,
Just as
learn
long as
me.
I'm going to school.
I just need to leave this country. And so I got into West Virginia and I started school
Mm-hmm.
there. And my story has been that ever since. And yeah,
How
that's
old were
that's.
you?
I was 16, or I like June. I
Wow.
was born in 1997, June 25. So I
She
think
said,
I
let
was
me do the
17.
math.
Let me do the mathematics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always say I'm 16 or 17 because like my friends
Okay.
then used to have to joke about how like I was 17 and 13 months because I was a baby or some shit like that. Like they used to make
Mm,
jokes about like my age because I was the youngest in my class to get in then.
yeah.
Did you
But
feel
yeah, that was
mature
it.
enough to go to university at that age?
When
Oh,
I tell
America.
you, no, I remember like when my mom and my brothers were telling me goodbye in like Muritala Mohammed airports. For context, that's our airport in Nigeria. I
Yeah.
remember like I traveled by myself, and I'll never forget like the layover was Abu Dhabi, and I had a small phone, and I usually would always use my mom's phone number. Actually, like I never really had a phone that I used to use because I was always either in school or with my mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so like,
Mm-hmm.
but she gave me this phone, and like the SIM wasn't working. But like, if I had Wi-Fi, I'll connect it, and I could WhatsApp her. And every time I was in Abu Dhabi,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking. I just need to get from here to here. Like I was like walking to my gate and I just kept praying. I was so scared. Like now I think back to it and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so traumatic for a kid. But I can imagine kids who even fly younger. But in my head, I was just
Yeah.
thinking, I must get to this America. I'm gonna get there. And I remember landing in JFK and looking around and being so lost and like, where do I go? And I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
breeze is different. This air is different.
Mm.
I'm here.
You had
Nah,
never
that
been to
feeling.
America before then.
Like I'd never traveled. I had been to London before then, but I remember being a kid. I don't have memories of that for some reason. Like I
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
don't have any memory of anything but me coming to America, which is weird. I feel like me and my therapist need to unpack that a lot. But
Yeah.
no, like I traveled to London once with my mom, with my cousin, and it was like for like 4 or 5 days, and I think I was like
Mm-hmm.
7 or 8 then, and then yeah, that was it.
So
That
your
was
Mm-hmm.
first time in
exciting.
the US was when you had like officially
First
moved.
time ever. Yeah, when I officially moved and it was by myself. Stayed with
To
my
West
uncle for a bit.
Virginia.
Went to school. Literally the closest to me was McDonald's that was like 30 minutes away. And I remember
Wow.
like there was nobody there. It was Concord University. Love campus beautiful. That campus was beautiful. But when you got to that
Mm-hmm.
campus, I remember saying, this is not the America I saw on TV. They lie.
Yeah.
Where's my Disney Channel type college?
Where's my college students that is like dealing with like like all the movies I've been watching? Like it was not New York City. It was not.
Oh my show. Oh.
Yeah, it was not. I won't forget. I transferred the year after a year. I couldn't do it. I was like, nah. I literally.
What was that first? What was that first year like?
Oh my god, I think it was fun. I won't lie. Like I think that's why I'm also in the career that I'm in, is because I think I take life so like fun. Like I chose to enjoy it and I chose to assimilate into the culture. Like anyone would tell you, I feel like for a lot of us with Japa, especially if you go through the school route and not through family, we either choose two different avenues. You either stick to the African Student Association, international student, stay with your friends, you cook the food, eat that, or you choose the route of like, I'm taking everything in. I'm going to enjoy this country, enjoy that suffer. And I went that route. But when you're in a place like Concord, where like all the Africans we know a lot of it was like maybe 10, 15 of us. Like we all like did that, but also like I was able to like make friends. Like my roommate was like Brazilian, and she's still one of my best friends till today. And like I learned so much. It was so fun. I won't lie, like it was hard in terms of like financial stuff, like the difference in like just food. I remember like I think like the burger, and there was no place to go.
Bro, we talked about this burger thing.
Yo, like it was just. I just feel like I'm also like a village girl. Like anyone who knows Sofi knows, like I eat every day. I'm a village girl. Like I'm a proper Yoruba girl, right? I can put the accent all I want. One more lane in me, like I know what's
I'm going to speak Yoruba
It was really hard. It was like the food part I think was like the toughest thing. But I think my uncle and my auntie like made it a little bit better for me. Yeah.
Were they in West Virginia? Or
they were in Maryland. They're in Maryland, which is about like a 6 to 8 hour drive.
Where did you go to school again?
I went to school in Virginia, and then I went to school in Virginia. Yeah, so I know that West Virginia is like the Appalachians, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, no, babes, no, it's the Appalachians.
Just like no, for sure.
There was one time I was going where they were taking all of us into like the mall stuff. We would all do like international, like some white person would take us there. And I was singing to Beyonce in the car. And I saw you ever tell this story. I'm going to tell the story to the end. Like, you're always like, oh, they always have stories. So like, no, that shit really happened. Like this white guy was driving, I'll never forget, Ryan, that's his name. Ryan was driving us. Shelly was in the front seats. Me and my friends were in the back seat. Beyonce came on, we were singing it. And he was like, oh my God, like, you know Beyonce? I'm really funny. What do you mean? Like, yeah. I was like, yeah, like, I love Beyonce. And he was like, oh, I've been meaning to ask you, like, your jeans, like, did you just sew them in Africa, or like did you buy them when you got here? Like, where did you get your clothes from?
You know,
and I was like, we have malls. What do you mean? Like, are you kidding me? And that genuinely, I think certain places in America, like maybe now they're better, but like he wasn't even like trying to be mean. It was genuine curiosity.
It was genuine ignorance.
I was like, I was like thinking, do you think I came naked in the airport and then somewhere along the way they gave me clothes to wear?
They
like,
just
what
gave
did you
clothes.
think? So like that was what I dealt with for the most part, and like I think that's why a lot of the Africans in West Virginia we just stuck with each other because like there was no, like they were all open, but it always felt very tokeny, like, oh, I'm collecting one by one type of thing. I'm about me. What do you mean?
Do they like you because it's you, or do they like you because you're African?
Exactly. It's very weird.
Okay, so you said you went to Louisiana.
I did. I transferred to UL Lafayette.
Lafayette. Okay. Oh,
Tulane,
again. I believe so. I also went to Tulane after transferring from West Virginia.
What?
So who was following who? I mean, when did you?
I think I was technically following her because I didn't come to America until I didn't start school until 2016. So
I went to Louisiana in 2015.
Yeah,
I love.
So I never reached by that time.
Yeah,
Louisiana is amazing.
It's amazing. No, you have to live there to understand it. Like, it's such a different culture from like up north. Like the Black people there were so different. Like my experience with America was so different. Like West Virginia was very hidden, and Louisiana was very like, oh, it was more open. I was like, okay,
you experienced the Southern culture.
Southern culture was much better, and the food was a lot better.
Let me tell you something about New Orleans food. Let me just say something about Louisiana food. Let me tell you, they
What?
will eat rice and beans, and they will eat rice and beans in different forms that it still makes sense to you because you too, you also consume rice and beans.
Like I've never seen. I don't know.
I love
happy.
it.
Seasoning.
I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so happy that you got to experience rice and beans. Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway,
I appreciate
I'm
it.
sure there are a lot less people asking you where where you sold your jeans in Louisiana.
Yeah. At least for
No,
me,
there was
Sha.
not.
Yeah.
No, like there was. I think it was more so like Louisiana was very like more curious, and in Lafayette where I was, they hosted this thing called like Festival International, which was like a because there's like Creole mix there, and it was like very like it was very international in Lafayette. So like the festival itself, like Lagbaja had come to Louisiana
Oh,
like a few years back. Like that's how international they were. Like
Oh,
this
that's
place
what was
was,
okay.
crazy to
yeah.
me. It was like very open. The people there were so loving, and I was involved in everything on that campus, like anything you could think
Mm-hmm.
of. Sophie,
Sophie is
I told
there.
that American dream of like coming here and like assimilating because I feel like I lost that connection. Like my high school was great, but I wanted America. Like in Nigeria, you see everybody like if you're a Unilag babe, you're a Unilag babe. If you're a Redeemer's person,
Yeah.
Covenants, like our universities shape us so much,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah. I
tend
know
to
what you mean. Okay.
that part, we lose that connection with our peers, like sign outs day. Or I remember like the seniors I looked up to in Ilorin like then before I left, like I would see them doing
Mhm.
sound
Mm-hmm.
out day and like 100 level stuff and all that. Then I'll be like, I can't wait for my own.
I want to do
And
that. Okay.
I did not have that again here. I was like, I needed to have something close to it to make me still feel like I was a part of
Okay.
something here.
Just like a
Yeah.
tradition. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
what you mean.
like because I feel like when
Yeah.
we international students, we just tend to like flow through the school because we sometimes we don't pick
Mm-hmm.
the school. Sometimes we just it's choice. Some people just like
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
school accepts
Mm-hmm.
them,
And I
whatever
think
school
it's
sends them
worse when you transfer
to.
too, because you don't
Exactly.
start from the beginning. You have no
I
idea what the
literally
transitions
searched. I
are.
searched for cheap school admission fees, anything below $25 for me to transfer. That's literally how I got my school. I literally just googled
Mm-hmm.
cheapest admission fee
Who
schools,
would
and then
charge me too much?
exactly. And
Yeah,
Louisiana did not charge anything for applying to transfer. And that's how I
that's
transferred. Like
lovely.
every other one was like 25, 50, 150. I didn't have the money. I was like, I'm going to apply
Yeah.
something cheap, get it, and move on. Literally, that's what I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to know. I want to get into how you became you because you had you you had an experience a little bit in University of Illinois. You had some experience in
Yeah.
West Virginia and then Louisiana. So when did Sophie become Sophie?
But okay, but even before you get into that, were they calling you Sophie in Lagos? Are you part of two name gang? Let's discuss.
Yeah. When I tell you I miss Adironke so much.
I
Oh
Like
didn't
I
my
care.
god, your name is Adirunke.
Abim,
when
so
I
we
tell
have the
you
capture. We have the capture for this
Yes.
video.
Yes, we do.
like my like oh you guys just made me small so much. Like when I tell you the friends that call me Ronke still now, like they look at me like Ronke, what's wrong with you? Like and it just
Mm,
I feel like a different human when my friend like when I hear Ronke, like I'm like,
mm,
what?
Mm-hmm.
Like and
mm.
I'm taking you right back to that child before I left Nigeria. Like the moment
Yeah.
Yeah.
literally, I'll tell you the story again to this. Came here, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
my name is Aderonke Ibrahim, because that's my full name. Sophia
Yeah.
is my
Yeah.
Sophia, like Sofiat is my Muslim name,
Good.
but it's my middle
Yoruba
name.
people are adding that T to Muslim
That
names.
thing
I
like
love it.
was like
Consistency. That's what that is.
consistently. So I was like,
Yeah.
but Sophia was my middle name, and my mom was the only one who called me Sophia, if even like my family called me Sophia.
Yeah.
And then I came here and they said, "Oh, introduce yourself." And I went, "Oh, like my name is Aderonke Ibrahim." And they said, "Oh, like I don't care."
Yeah.
And I said,
Oh.
I said, I said no. Like Aderonke said, you know what? You can call me Sophia, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
already know
Yeah.
how to do the accent for them. I said, you can call me
Yeah.
Sophia.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like Sofiat. I said, you know what? Sophie is
Mm.
fine.
So
And literally
that one
over
they
the
can do.
Wow.
course, yes, over the course of like Sofiat, how do you pronounce your name? How do you do? I was just like, oh, Sophie works,
Yeah.
Sophie works, Sophie works. And also like that's like my childhood like Disney dream. Like Sophie's such a Disney
Sophie.
name.
Oh
Like
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
like Sophie
Yeah.
was
gosh.
something
She's
you hear in like
living
American
it.
movies. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I could do
Oh.
that. And that's how Sophie was born. And like I've been Sophie now since 2014, 2015. And when I hear Ronke, I'm like, I'm thrown. Like when people call me Ronke, I'm like,
Wow.
what?
So you would
Even my family
say so
doesn't
you would say Sophie is like more of who you are now? Like you identify fully
yeah,
as Sophie.
I think so. I think it's a representation of like who I had to be, if anything. Like I think that's what it is. Like Sophie is like the
What
person
do you
who
mean?
like, because I feel like, I think for me especially coming here, I think I had a mission when I was traveling. Like I was not going to just come to America like and stay. Like my mom couldn't afford me to come here. Like it was like I was charting new waters, and I feel there was a lot of pressure for me to prove myself. And so Sophie is like that embodiment of like hustling. Like I'm gonna make it. But like Ronke was like, Ronke's like my mom's daughter. You know, I'm still at home. My aunties are cooking. My cousins are calling me. Ronke, what are you doing? Ronke this. Ronke that. Ronke is a child. Ronke is this. The moment I left Ronke in Nigeria and I said that, oh, my name is Sophie. It was like the responsibilities. Like, what's my future like? What international students too. Like, you don't have a year where you're not stressing about the next thing. Whether it's like when you graduate, it's OPT or H1B or internship or connection or networking, like
Yeah.
there's no peace of mind for
There's
all
a
like until
consistent hustle.
you
Yeah.
get that green card or that citizenship, like you're thinking of when the next ball is gonna drop. So like I was like I feel like Sophie like that hustle of okay, yeah, my name is Sophie, how can I help you? Like how can you help me continue in this country to survive?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think that experience and pressure kind of, forces you to grow up,
It
Yeah.
does. It does. It does. It really does. Damn.
What would you
Yeah,
say
wow.
like what would you say like was do you have any specific moments that you remember that are like, I'm an adult too. And I'm an
Oh,
adult in America.
what? I think so a couple of things. I think when I started realizing how much, because I think at some point, because 2014 still was when I think dollar was like 95 naira to a dollar or 150 to a dollar. So it wasn't as crazy. No, what I'm saying, it was like 95, maybe less than that even, I think, right? Like this was like a
Yeah.
good day. So then like
Yeah.
it would be like, I'll send you $100, or she send my uncle this amount. Like, you know what I mean? Like to me that was great. But I think it was one point where I think it reached 150 and it reached 200 and it was like dollar is
It
160
just kept
something
getting
now.
worse.
I kept getting worse. And then like I started like calling and hearing the stress. And my mom didn't pay my tuition from the moment I transferred because I was like, I just can't. Like, there's no way. I had to start doing. I was a resident assistant to make sure she could,
Yeah.
I could
All
pay
right.
tuition. I was making people's hair, cooking. Like me and my friends would figure out how to make money, and like I didn't think it was suffering because it was just what I had to do. But I remember there was one time
Yeah.
that like money didn't come at all at anywhere. There was not even promise of anything, and I had to like go to my school and be like, I don't want to go back to Nigeria. This is my story. Like, what can you do? And I had to do that behind my
Help
mom's
me.
back. So she didn't even know. She didn't even know that I did that because I was like, I'm an adult now.
That
I
pride,
can't.
yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
can't go back to Nigeria. And for her, I think our parents also do this thing when we leave. If you don't have anything, because I didn't. My brother was still in Nigeria and he was dealing with his own stuff. So in my head, I was like, we have this responsibility on our shoulders where it's like we can't disappoint them. We have to show them that we're
Yeah.
on our own. And the moment you're in
Yeah.
America, they think, oh, the entire world is opened up for you.
You're living la
Yeah.
vie.
Nothing can be wrong. Yeah.
If your
Your
life
life is
has
soft.
problems, you are the one that is causing the problems for yourself. Because if you're in America, you can't have problems.
How
Like
can there
you're
be
in the land
problem?
of
Yeah.
like you can go to McDonald's and work. No, I can't because I need work permits. Oh, what's that? That's a question you don't
Yeah.
even know.
Yeah.
I remember when I was talking
Yeah.
about like, oh, so like how you get a job, and I'm like, for me, it's not easy. She's like, what haven't you been applying? I said, I've been applying for a year, but I've still not
Yeah.
gotten it because once they see something, they won't give me. And she's like, really? Maybe you're not applying well. Maybe you should try this one. I'm looking at you like, it's not.
Girl.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. It's different.
Mom,
It's
do you know what
different.
sponsorship is? Do you know any company sponsoring?
You know what? God, you know, going to Nesby conference with all the other 50 million Nigerians.
Omo, that's a
Yeah.
That's a Nigerian conference, Loki.
That's a convention. Yeah.
Loki. It's link up.
God,
That's
it's
all it
different.
is.
Like I feel like I
Right.
remember like all my engineering friends like the pressure themselves because engineering like everybody's in Nigeria like all of you are fighting for it. At least in liberal arts it's like there's a few things I can argue and finagle and say I can do this job and that job. Engineers is one exam they all are fighting for the
One
same
lane.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're all fighting who's first. That shit is intense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like Sophie is a real hustler. I kind of admire her a lot actually. Now I've heard her story.
Yeah.
So we've met Aderonke, we met Sophie. Now let's hear a
Yeah.
little bit about Oddity. When did Sophie become Oddity?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. So Oddity started in 2017. And I remember I started because I was like, I needed something to do. And my friends used to always say, oh, Sophia, so extra, you're weird, you're this, you're that. Because like, again, I assimilated culture. I was like ready, like I wanted everything American. I was this and that. And I feel like I've always just been like interested in social media for sure. But everybody that had been in my life, like my mom, my like exes, all the friends will always be like, why are you recording yourself? What's wrong with you? This and that. Like, don't embarrass me, this and that. So I stopped. I didn't do it till later. When I even did it, I did it as a blog. So I started the Odditty blog. And I was like a way for me. So like I remember my tagline was like a way for my unique self to like feel like not judged or feel like I was open. And I'll write things like discovering me, to the girl who's always smiling, making friends in college, in PWI. Like I just talked to myself as a diary. And then that was like my side thing that I did. My mom didn't know about it. My family members didn't know about it. Like nothing. Like I literally created a whole new Instagram. Do not even share it on my main page like that. Like I have like a personal Instagram that all my friends know from college and high school and stuff. And that Odyssey was like, nobody knows me. I'm just going to share. And then people started following me here and there. And then from 2017 to now, it's just grown into this insane community of people who just, I feel like we understand our struggles from like, being Nigerian, being Black, being a woman, all of that. Yeah, that's where Oddity sort of started like that. And I think she like skyrocketed into like maybe like more people knowing me when like quarantine happened. And like when I cut my hair and like I started sharing more self-love, confidence things. And then the rest is history. It's weird. It's a weird.
What gave you that like courage to go, like, you know what I mean? Because you talked about like your family looking at you one type of way, that kind of thing. I fully understand this podcast safe. If you know how many years we start on it before we finally said, whoa, put it on before somebody else steals this idea, or like but like what gave you that confidence of like, let's live in this?
I didn't have a confidence until like a while. Like I didn't. I think that's why I hid it from my family for so long. And I think even for my friends, it wasn't something that they used to clown. It was Nigerians are wicked though. Like we know.
Judgmental. We're the best.
We do
we're
that.
the best. We're the best. Because you don't only do it, you also do it authentically. So like the courage to put stuff out there authentically, consistently. You know what? I might rate Odditty more than Sofi now.
Look at her with a camera. Look at her with her phone. Look at her with this. What is she doing? You think, because now you're on camera.
You won't hear one.
I think I'm still such a people pleaser, so I'll always be so embarrassed by it. So I wouldn't say anything. Like I'll beg friends to take me my photos, they wouldn't. I think like for me it was just like, and I wasn't growing. I was just like 100 followers, 2,000, 1,000. It was like fun. And I think as I started growing, I started getting validation from like people who weren't my friends. And I realized that like, the people who don't know me see what I'm trying to do. I think that's what helps me like move past it. I think my confidence even now is still like, I'm still over here. Like I stumbled upon this thing. I just wanted to share. And now people are looking at me like, oh, you know what you're doing. Tell us, Mom. Like, I don't. I'm just vibing.
No,
this is all vibes.
This
is just all vibes. Like, this is all just Sophie chilling. But I think it's been cool to like, it's so weird too, like creating a name for yourself in a country that isn't yours is weird. Like you know what I mean, like because I think I like to say like Oddity would be bigger if I was in Nigeria for sure.
Interesting.
And if I catered directly to a Nigerian audience, I think I've actually never said this on things, so I don't want to be cancelled for this, please. But like I think in many ways it's weird because like, I see my Nigerian counterparts and I see how there's so much support from our people. Like Nigerians will stand you. Like Nigerians stand you too, and like my most engaged community are the Nigerians who follow me, right? But I make money in dollars, and I talk to more of an international broad audience, and I know why that limits my reach, because if I cater to Nigerians who were there and like who I could directly talk to, I think I'll be a lot bigger in terms of like the community, but it would be more of an international thing. It would be like more of like a very Nigerian audience, and I'm trying to make sure like I'm talking to everybody. So even then, it's like Oddity thing isn't just my Nigerian experience. It's like me as a woman,
as a woman,
4 or 5-year-old, all of that stuff. I'm 24, like all of that stuff, and figuring it out. And it's hard to do that because like I don't have the connections here, the community here, my family, like it's different like that. Like it's just me every day waking up in my apartment looking like, oh, what can we do next to entertain the internet and entertain ourselves and be happy with ourselves? And it's like it's very different for sure. But yeah, Oddity is chilling.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I had the same like thought because I was thinking about that too. Like, I would say that your audience is probably more from, at least from a watching POV. It gives very Black woman. Like, it doesn't. It's not necessarily like Nigerian women or African women. It just gives like Black women, especially because I think you've kind of merged the two identities. Like, for me, like, I understand the need to like connect and make money in dollars and that kind of thing. So like my like work professional life is very like catered to an American audience. Like, I make social media content for Americans. Like, it's that type of thing. But like,
imagine that thought process, but for your personal life and how that
for
would
your
mess with your
personal,
head.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like that means for me now, every time I wake up, I'm listening to Guadalajara. I enter from Abuja, go Guadalajara. That is normal. When I cook, I cook jollof rice and meat and all these things. But I also know that if I post that heavily, my it's gonna really limit my audience. Before it became like my full-time job, that's something I could do. I'm like enjoy but now I'm like I can't. Well, can I? You know, should I teach new people?
I think you can.
But the thing is, like, it's so weird thinking of teaching people about my culture because it's just me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just it's a different mentality of like marketing oneself.
I have a solution for you.
Yeah.
You are a Yoruba woman, Abi.
Yeah.
So I know you have more names than the two you've listed. There's Aderoke, there's Sofi. Do you have any extra one?
There's one Oriki I need somewhere.
About Benawo, Ajoke.
See, now you can just use Ajoke now. That can just be different.
I'm crying. Malik is like,
community.
Continue to split your identity.
Like, split your personalities. You just need
until there's 10.
We are complex people. You know, because the Oddity you look at today is a combination of Aderonke, Sofi, Oddity, you know. True. So why limit yourself? You can be all versions of yourself, you know, and all versions of you like that. Why not?
I think I am. I think that's the cool thing about all this, but that's also the stressful thing. Is like I'm like everybody can like watch a video and like be entertained by something I do, but within my own head, it's like, who are we? Like, as long as I'm kidding to myself, I'm having a good time. But also every day, it's like I told my manager and my team would tell me, they're like, Sophie, and all your channels, like you have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and they're like, how are you managing everything? It's because I'm like, because if you've seen inside my head, you know, I need plenty of things to do. Because I think it's fun. I think that's what the cool thing is too. And also, I love Nigerian support you die. That's all I can say. Like the comments, the likes, everything. Like it makes me feel a lot more connected to home since I've been gone for so long. It still feels like I have that connection to home. Like I'm still Nigerian, even though I haven't lived there in a while, type of thing. Yeah.
I love that for you. Abib, let me shift to you a little bit. When did you think you found like the version of you that you are today? When do you think you found that person? When did you find that Abib?
Oh my god, what a good question, Malik.
Yeah, welcome.
I think it came this current version. I'm always morphing, that's what I can say. But I think so. Unlike you, Sophie, I kept my okay. My name is Abimisola. So when I came to the US, my first name is Muina, right? But I've never been called Muina. Yes. So like on my official paperwork, I had to put Muina on a lot of things. For whatever reason, my parents thought that Muina would be easier for Americans. I'm like, are you? There's like 3 vowels back to back. You've given them confusion. You understand? Like this is not working. So I came and I was like, okay, you can call me Bim. So a lot of my American friends know me as Bim, but I would argue that Bim and like Abim, that people used to call me in Niger, are 2 different people. Absolutely. I don't think that they are anywhere in the same realm. I think Bim is more authentic to who I am. And I think that version of me came about the time I transferred. So about sophomore year, because I transferred off the feeling of I was unhappy where I was. I didn't feel like I was in that, like I didn't feel like I was supposed to be in that space. Like it just didn't sit right with who I was and what who I want to be. And so when I transferred, it was more having the courage to say, this is not working for me. This is what I want for myself. Like this is who I am. So yeah, I think transferring definitely triggered stepping into the more authentic version of myself that I am now. And even to the point that I've started making them call me Abimsola at work. Oh. Like at work, they call me Abimsola. I always introduce myself. Hi, my name is Abimsola. It's pronounced exactly as it's spelt. I promise. If you think too much, you will mess it up. Like that is my spiel. Um, but yeah, I think definitely after I transferred, I was like, well, just live your life, I beg.
You have to. You have to. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. For
Maliki
me,
Unko.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I had like a. Okay, no, I will say I had a definitive moment. Maybe when I became like so uncomfortably self-aware that
Mm.
Mm.
I just kept on thinking about self consistently. And this was maybe like late in the game. I'm talking like graduation from college. So
Oh, okay. Late
I
in
feel
the
like that
game.
happens to a lot of men. That happens to a lot of Nigerian men though. Like self-awareness for Nigerian men
It
often
comes
comes
later.
really late. Yeah,
why do you think
it
that
does.
is?
I don't think you really need to. Like society doesn't
This
really
is
make
not
it
this is not the
necessarily for
this is
you
not
to
the
need
space.
to.
This is not the
Okay,
space to discuss
okay.
my qualms.
We'll put that we'll put that one in the back.
Yeah.
I feel like I had to start asking myself questions more authentically. Like, okay, you graduate every you graduated now. Everything you did up until now, you're just like, okay, yeah, you go to school. You study engineering. Law.
Yeah.
You just do the
You're ticking the
things on the
boxes. Yeah.
weekends. You do what most people in college do. Just going through the motions. Then after graduation, you say, okay, now you're out of a system. What do
Yeah.
you want for yourself? What do you want out of life? How do you feel about these things?
Yeah.
And once you find like self, you can't lie to yourself. You have to actually be very honest about
Yeah.
what you want and how you see the world. So I kind of split myself into Malik self-aware versus Malik not so self-aware.
Mm.
Mm.
Wait, what does that mean? Hold on. What does that mean?
Meaning like how Sophie is defining herself from going from Adironke to Sophie to Oddity.
Mm-hmm.
You have Bima.
Oh, so the past you is on not self-aware Malik.
There's still Malik. There's still both Malik, just not as
Yeah.
self-aware Malik.
Okay. So
Mm,
you would say that the current
okay.
version of you is self-aware.
Oh, for sure, and it's always evolving too. Like I can imagine
Yeah.
another couple of years. I was like, bro, you didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, yes. We don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
so true.
I have a question for you, Sophie.
Go ahead.
Do you think that if you were still in Nige, do you
Yeah.
think that you would be the version of yourself that you are today?
Honestly, I had the conversation with someone the other day, like, but like this exact, like mostly that close enough to that question, and I don't
Okay,
know.
Mm-hmm.
good. So you've thought about it.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and I went in, I did soul searching for like a week. That thing hit me, and the fact you just said that, I just triggered
Mm-hmm.
that whole entire response
Damn.
because I can't respond because I don't know. Because I feel like
Yeah.
when you leave Nigeria, you leave a safety bubble, right? And like my mates
Yeah.
in Nigeria, we grew up fast, but we grew up fast in a weird way compared to them. Like I have mates in Nigeria now
Mm-hmm.
who have children at my age, who are married, who have dealt
Yeah.
with, who have been dating, who are like wives and aunties and stuff like that. Eh? Me? Sophia, at this
No
age,
such
they
thing.
have like
No
it's
such
not
thing.
possible, right? And that's only because I'm in America, and America
Mm,
allows you
Mm-hmm.
mm.
to find yourself as individuality there, while Nigeria allows you to
Yeah.
find family and comfort.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
would have had the same luxury of like not listening to my mom when she says to
Yeah.
don't do this,
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. Like you
Yeah.
can't catch me. I've done it. Like
Yeah.
I've
You
done
quite
it.
literally can't catch
I've done it.
me. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's why I find it hard because I'm a really stubborn person. And but
Mm-hmm.
everything that made Sophie and Oddity possible was because I didn't listen to anybody around me. Now I don't know what
Yeah.
that means because I tell them because of that I thought I don't listen to you guys even still now. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
they like to listen to me, and I think that's why it's so hard for me to answer because I didn't listen. I wonder if I was in Nigeria, if I would have been forced to listen, and what that version
Mm-hmm.
of Sophie would look like now. I knew I was gonna be in entertainment in some way, right? I might
Yeah.
have been, because I was even in Lauren. I was doing model walk, doing like
Yeah.
Miss Beauty pageants. So I was still doing all that thing little by little. But I wonder how much I would have done, or if I would just focus
Yeah.
on like I'm just gonna be a lawyer and practice law. I'm not gonna do social media. Would I have found a man and married and have kids? Like I can't imagine that. But like
Yeah.
that's the story of like I know almost half of my people who went to high school with me are married with kids now, and they
God damn.
look different. They look older, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
25. They look older than me now. Like I feel like we're in such different spaces
Who
in
is
our heads.
marrying at 25? I'm so sorry. Like,
Your
I
mate.
Who's
can't
marrying
do
at
that.
That's who's married at 25.
Your
Your
mate?
mate. Your
I
mate.
can't do that.
Your mate.
I
But
can't
like
do
that's
that.
I think that's the difference with like especially for women in like who
Mm-hmm.
leave Nigeria and are here. Like when we're 30, we're still searching for ourselves in America. We're changing jobs, we're changing careers, we're trying a new masters,
Yeah.
we're doing that. Like we're free, we're this. Back home
And
when
your
you're
mother is
30,
just like, where will you
where is
be?
but she's there, you know what I mean? But like I went back home now. That's all I'll be hearing: marriage, kids, this, that, all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, who has told me that since like nobody cares
Yeah.
about that. So it's like a different. I think I'll be a different person, but I'm not sure what
I
kind of person that person.
10,000% would have been very different. I know this for a fact.
Yeah.
Like I don't like remember. So this is kind of conversation that I've also had with Malik before. Like when you were saying something about like, oh, but if you were in Nigeria, you would be living at home with your parents and doing the traditional thing of moving from your house to your husband's house and da, da, da.
And
And
we're
I
Muslim
was
too,
like,
so that's
yeah, that's a whole other thing, right? And I was just saying, like, yeah, but that reality left 8 years ago. Like, that reality is literally 8 years. It was never going to
yeah.
happen. Like, at this point, like, that reality just doesn't exist for me anymore.
Um,
And I know for a fact that if I had, stayed or like maybe even moved back, like, after graduation, like, I would be in a very different space than I was now. I would not be in the career that I am. I would definitely not be doing this podcast because then I wouldn't be an African immigrant in the diaspora.
mhm.
Yeah, my life would not look the same at all. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm glad it took the route that it did. I'm
Yeah.
very glad that my life did what it did.
Yeah.
Because I can't even imagine.
Oh,
Aww, I can't
I know.
imagine Nigerian Abim right now. Just yeah, no. No. And me, I'm a people pleaser too, so I'd have actually continued
I
to
was
have
just
been doing
everything.
the,
Can you
the
imagine?
ticking of
My mom,
boxes.
my mom constantly together. So,
Oh yeah, that's
it's just
intense.
nah. I
Yeah, that's
can't.
just too much. Like I love you,
Yeah.
but from there.
But from
6 feet,
Yeah.
6 feet, 6 feet.
6 feet distance.
6 feet.
I
Yeah.
mean, Malik, would you say you're the same? Do you think you would have been the same person? I think yours might be even a bit closer because you're a guy.
What? Obviously, I wouldn't be the same person, but I'm not sure what you mean by like it would be closer based on being a guy.
Oh,
Like
you
I
would be
think
closer
the
to
societal expectations in America of
men
a
are
woman versus
so
societal
different.
expectation in Nigeria are very different.
But no, I actually feel
Well, not
like I
very
think
different, but like you know what I mean.
absolutely different. Like I feel like for
Yeah.
men especially, like Nigerian men, like you can be 30 years old and they'll still be looking at you like, oh, you're just chilling. No,
Soft.
it's just relaxing. When
Yeah.
it's
Soft.
ready, you'll
Yeah.
settle down. When it's ready, you'll do this. And that's like,
Yeah.
and I think it's so similar to here. So I think for men, especially like moving here, and also let me talk for you, but I can't
No,
this.
please go on. No, please go on.
After she has finished, but let
Please
me
go
You
not
know,
on.
my
talk for
soul, I feel like, gosh, no.
I don't know, because again, like I don't have a frame of reference for coming of age in Nigeria. Like I don't.
Yeah.
That was never my reality, right?
Mhm.
So I don't really have anything to compare it to, right? I can just
Okay.
look at my friends who live at home and kind of like guess, what my life would have been. But to be honest,
Yeah.
I think it would have still been quite similar. The Malik that turned out in the US would have been very similar to the Malik that turned out in Lagos.
So what we said before
Absolutely.
now is that not what we said, and he
No,
was
we
telling
just
us that
see,
he
man.
doesn't
No, no,
know.
no,
What
no,
did
no.
you
no.
just
You
now
wanted to
say?
tell
Like
me.
I'm
No,
so
you wanted to tell
confused.
me.
Why you just say?
No, me, I knew why. I knew why with
Okay.
male perspective. No, you want to tell me about it. No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Just saying what I said.
uh,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, but I want to bring up something that Sophie mentioned before. Something about us kind of like growing up at different paces. Do you think that like the coming of age in Nigeria is like different from is a different pace from the coming of age here?
I was 16 in Unilore, dating a
Mm-hmm.
20. My mom, mommy, if you're listening to this, I'm just joking. This is all for the attention vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I was 16 in Lorraine dating a 24-year-old,
God damn.
right? And that's an 8-year gap, which is that bad or it's not bad? It's bad.
No,
Because
no,
like
no
as
one
far
are
as
better than I at that.
Not
No,
16.
no one
right,
better.
no, no,
Ooh.
but that,
16,
but
16,
everybody,
16.
16.
but we think about it. We graduate from high school 15, 16, and then we go straight into secondary
Yeah,
school. And by 21, 22, we're done with university, right?
that's true.
And in
Yeah.
university, most of the serious relationships that people find in Nigeria are in university. And then
Yeah.
when they're done
Mm-hmm.
like that, they either end up getting married then right after they graduate, after maybe NYSC. If you do NYSC and you find
Mm-hmm.
your love for papa, you're 23, 24. You're married, you have kids.
Yeah,
That's like
marrying
that's the
soon.
typical, that's the typical like coming of age. For a woman, if you want to do masters, do masters from your husband's house. Or it's
Yeah.
just started, finish early. Or the ones who are waiting. Now, of course, life is changing and people are waiting and people are like, taking their time. But for those who are actually still with traditional parents and living traditional lives,
Yeah.
for the most
Mm-hmm.
part, they grow like my cousins all almost started dating and getting married around 21, 22. Like that's the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to be an adult then who's like supposed to carry a child and do this and then
Yeah.
but you also not, I think as a woman you're not necessarily an adult yet back home because you have your aunties and your mom and everybody, so your decision making isn't for yourself only, and you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
fighting to make decisions for yourself, you're oftentimes seen as like, oh, you're stubborn because
Ah,
you
story of man life.
it's already been laid out. Why are you asking questions? Just follow and listen
Mm-hmm.
to what your mother or your aunties or
Yeah.
your sisters have done and follow exactly that. But in
Mm-hmm.
America, you're laying the foundation for yourself. Unless you have siblings here who have been through that. And even then, America's individualistic lifestyle, your siblings will not even have time because
Yeah.
they have jobs and they have bills
Yeah.
to pay.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
have questions, you'll be like, can you answer? You're like, please, I figured myself out. You to figure yourself out. You get
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're immediately you're having to think for yourself what the next step is. But in
Yeah.
Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
you can lean on what's been happening. Like,
A
oh,
lot. Yeah.
Tamedun Binu, now, okay, this is what happened when Tamedun did this and this that way. It's supposed to this
Yeah.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm. I concur. I
Yeah, for
concur
sure,
a
for sure.
thousand percent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because even if I would have been technically okay, let's just say this 25 married, I'm still questioning it. But let's just say that I am indeed married at 25. I think I would have been married at 25, but not as emotionally mature as I am now. I think
there's
that
no
would have been the
way.
trade off. The trade off would have
Yeah,
been appearing more mature because I'm hitting those life, milestones. But like,
yeah,
I think it would take me a minute before I realize, wait, am I actually happy? Am I just
exactly. And I don't
doing
even
what I
think
think
like
I'm supposed to do?
yeah, and I also don't even think that like here in America, like we're mostly emotionally mature. I think we're forced to think through like the things we go through. Like
Mm-hmm.
immigrant like international students, like immigrants who leave a country, like the way your mind has to shift to accept the new country, that trauma
Mm-hmm.
alone, people don't call it trauma, but it is like
It is
I feel
trauma.
like we're also
Yeah.
used to like it's just oh this life we move on from it, and people come here alone who don't have lives, who don't
Yeah.
have
Mm-hmm.
families, who move through stuff, that in a especially from a young age, that thing
Mm.
changes your
Yeah.
psyche.
Did you guys
Like
ever
you
have Thanksgiving where everyone went home for Thanksgiving and you are just
And you
on
are
campus
there
by
in the
yourself?
house by yourself.
I had you don't understand. I
Oh,
had summers in the dorm because I didn't have a home
wow.
to go to. Like 'cause that's why I was a RA. Like I can remember I'll be
Mm-hmm.
counting down the days where I'll go back to school just like get dorms ready for other people to come from their homes to the
Mm.
place. I
Yeah.
remember like not even having like tissue paper and open like don't provide tissue paper for us, this and that, like just to make sure. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
go into my masters, I could only seek out master schools that would give me a full funding scholarship. So I wouldn't have to
Scholarship.
pay.
Yeah.
That's literally how I went through school here. I couldn't have, like my mom wasn't gonna afford to pay what $60,000 a year for me. Like
Immediately though.
where was she?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like even that I had to do that. And even as a grad student, I still was catering to students here, was still working for the school. And my
Yeah.
first like independent life was after I graduated from my master's and I got a job and I was like, but then I'd always been in school for my entire life, boarding school to
Mm-hmm.
resident assistant, to grad assistant. And I was like, wait, so when do I wake up? When do I eat? What's going on? Who's gonna tell me
Yeah.
what to do here? And it's like, no, now you're on
Mm-hmm.
your own in this America, and you have to start telling people, they tell you taxes, to tell you this, what states you want to live
Yeah.
in, what job you want. And I'm like, 401k, this is a lot.
You're talking too many words to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Too
Yeah.
many. So Yeah, you grew up quick. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of forces you to jazz up.
Yeah, quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But we're
All
strong.
right.
We're strong for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Props to us.
My final question for the group: does everybody feel like they've come into their real self now? Is this the Abimsola that's going through the next 10 years? Is this Sophie that is going through the next 10 years? Do you think you've gone through all the growth and change that comes with coming of age?
Immediately, no.
She said not even close. Sophie's face was like not even close.
I hope not. I
Yeah,
genuinely
yeah.
hope
I
not.
mean,
You know
yeah,
what I
I would
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
agree. I would agree.
I hope that like I'm not the same person I am because I feel like there's a lot I'm working through, and I
Mm-hmm.
hope that the person I am, even tomorrow, next year, in 5 years, is proud of like the strides she takes to get there. I know the kind of person I want to be. I think that's what it is. Like I
Yeah.
know the kind of person, the growth I want for myself, and I just hope like future Sophie is able to like push through and keep those promises to herself to get to where she needs to be. But
Yeah.
nah, I'm not even close. I feel like
Yeah.
there's
I
so
know
much
it
coming.
here.
Yeah. And you know
Yeah.
what's so funny? Like, as soon as you start feeling a little comfortable, you evolve again and you
Life
feel
will
like you need to play
just,
again and you
yeah.
need to still keep
Yeah.
growing, keep evolving. It's non-stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah,
I think that's the journey.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Constant growth. Damn.
Yeah. So
But
every day
killing
you
it.
just have to be like
That's exhausting. That's
it is act no,
exhausting.
it is deeply exhausting. Like just the thought of like, so you mean I will now still grow another grow. There's still
Uh-huh.
more
You're
growing that
I
I
learning
still
just
need
did
to
one
do.
yesterday. You want me to
I
do another
quite
one now?
literally just did
taking
one
notes, dealing
yesterday.
with generational trauma. Rest. Sometimes I
It's
want
a
to sleep.
lot.
I'm gonna
It's
take
a
a nap.
lot. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I very much agree with Sophie. Like this is definitely not my final version.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also just did some very heavy like internal. The therapy is therapizing. That's what I can say. Yeah. So
Internal.
I'm definitely proud of the current version that I am.
Yeah.
Because we fought to get here. I can't even lie to you.
Yeah.
But
Sophie,
yeah, I think it's gonna get better.
every day my sister texts me, oh, so have you started therapy yet? Oh no, no, not oh not yet.
You
Two
better
months
I am on
later,
a
start.
campaign.
two
I'm
months
on a
later, she'll be like,
campaign.
Malik, like 2 months ago, I asked you something. Any follow up on that? Any follow up on that?
Yeah.
Send me your company
Your
benefits. Let me
insurance,
see if
yes.
they have.
No,
Because
therapy
okay,
I won't lie, therapy is expensive. It's expensive.
Look at
But if
that.
you can, wallahi,
get into it.
things I learned in
Get
therapy about
into it.
myself are crazy. The
Mhm.
things therapy taught me is like I wish my biggest thing is like, but if anything, I want my mom to go through at least 5 therapy sessions once in her
Mm-hmm.
life. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's so much missing from our like that we don't even talk about within our like ourselves, like our families and like being Nigerian and
Mm-hmm.
immigration and all that stuff. That I just want her to unpack that because the amount of trauma that we even carry, and then we come into a
Mm-hmm.
new space, a new place, and we're carrying all that thing on our shoulder, and we're dealing with all of that. We're also trying to figure out things that are moving forward. Like if you, I feel
Mm-hmm.
all of it, like also Japa, like we don't know how to disassociate from like the wahala of our people where we're coming from because you're
Back
like
home. Yeah.
family, you're still like cousins needing stuff, family, aunties, uncles, and you're over here still dealing with the extra stuff that you're going through. Like how to
Yeah.
Just
balance
your
all
day
of
to day
that.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you need therapy. There's no other
Yeah.
option. What else do you need?
Yeah.
Besides drink, you need therapy.
Yeah.
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 God,
From time to time, just a little bit, just a little bit,
just a
Yeah.
little bit of sprinkle,
just a little
sprinkle. What's going on with you
bit.
today? Everything.
Yeah.
A lot. A lot. Yeah. Malik, what about you? What version of you is this?
No, no, obviously that I think we already talked about it. Yeah, we'll keep growing. We'll keep growing. I'll probably have to evolve again. I'll probably have to learn more things. The only reason I would actually maybe take you up on therapy is like every time like I've thought differently about how I handle or think about things or work through some trauma that I do by myself. I'm like, imagine
Mm,
how much faster you could have gotten to this with someone who actually has the tools to
Help.
help you get
Yeah.
there. You
help you
know,
with
Yeah.
it.
and the things that I was doing that was impacting my life negatively, I'm like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
imagine if you cut that out quicker. Like
Yeah.
where do you think you'd be now? What would
Yeah.
your life look like now? That kind of thing. So Keep trying. Keep texting me.
No, I'm coming. No. After this, we will sign you up. I promise you. See, you guys, my leadership therapy this year, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, guys. It was lovely. Thank you so much. For joining us. We love hearing about your story.
A great convo. Wow.
A lot of gems in there, and yeah.
Where can the people find you on the internet if they've not even found you right now?
Your people, you can follow me at THE_ODDITTY. That is the Odditty on every single platform: Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Lemonade, every single thing.
I love it. That's a content creator for real.
Discord, all of it. And I also have, what I'm plugging right now is I have a new React channel called the Odditty Reacts, where I react to fun, exciting things on the internet. And fun fact, I actually did that because I realized that as an immigrant, since I moved to America, there's a lot of things that I've sheltered myself from experiencing just because I just didn't have the time, or they were seemed as frivolous or foolish, because why would I be wasting my time doing that? And now I'm allowing myself to embrace and enjoy having fun and existing in a country that has low-key become my own, because I'm not going anywhere. So
let's go.
Follow me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. And you guys should absolutely follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Japa.Diaries. If you have not subscribed, my dear, just subscribe, because you listen to the end. Just, press that button.
I'm speaking from experience. Don't let Abimsola find you. I message you, text you, subscribe.
All right. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.